Welcome, everybody, to the Unquestionably Raw podcast. It is week 7 in the NBA, so we're going to go through our kind of weekly rankings. We're going to cover the rookie ladder. We're going to cover the MVP race. We're also going to cover our top 10 team rankings, and we're going to do something new this week. We're going to go through our top 10 players overall for this season. So we've got Lance back with us. It's been a while, Lance, but glad to have you back, man.
Indeed, man. Just stuff happens in life, and I told you I'd be back, and here I am.
Yep. So we're going to roll right to you first. We're going to start with the rookie, top 5 rookies, a.k.a. the rookie ladder. So we're going to kind of count it backwards from 5 to 1. So what do your rookie rankings look like?
All right, well, when you say rookie ladder, just know it's a very, very short ladder. It's not a it's not a lot of depth there. But for right now, I have Sabonis off the Thunder. Then I have Ingram from LA. I mean, he's starting to do a little better. I think they're loosening his leash, so I like the looks of that. And then Malcolm Brogdon, Saric, and then, of course, Embiid is probably everyone's number 1 unless you're blind.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Matt, what's your 5 look like?
I've got Brandon Ingram 5. He's starting like Lance said. They're loosening up the leash. He's in the starting lineup since Russell went down, and he looked good the other day with the 17 points. So he's starting to play better. I think he's getting a little more comfortable with the NBA game and the banging and all that stuff, the physicality. 4, I had to drop him. Jamal Murray had a kind of a stinker of a week. I didn't want to put him all the way out though, because he was fantastic for about 7 or 8 games, and that's more than most of these rookies. 3, I got Brogdon. He's been fantastic, just really solid for the Bucks off the bench. Really runs that team, good defender, makes shots, gets guys the ball. Really good player. And then 2, I got Saric back in that number 2 spot. Huge game the other day with the 21, 22 points. And, of course, we all saw him drop Jerebko to the floor, so that was fantastic. And he made the shot. And of course, Joel Embiid, number 1. I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm not going to say anything.
Absolutely. Good.
And he is going to play tonight. He decided to play tonight.
I'd say it's more the team. I think he'd love to play every single night, but the team limited him.
The way they said it was Joel Embiid decided to play against Denver rather than Memphis.
Yeah, I would say that's probably better because he doesn't have to bang against Gasol.
Yeah.
Compared to kind of I know Jokic is out for Denver, so basically it's just Nurkic down low for him to go against. So he should have the advantage there. Looking at my rankings, I actually dropped Jamal Murray to number 5. Just as you said, Matt, he had a little bit of a tough week. And then especially with Will Barton coming back, once Gary Harris comes back, I kind of look for the minutes to be reduced. So he's going to be basically the go-to score points in a hurry, may not play as many minutes. So hopefully his production can maintain going forward. Number 4, Brandon Ingram for the Lakers. Finally got him on my list. He doesn't shoot it that great, but playing that kind of point forward role is perfect for him. He'll get it as the season goes on, just more and more opportunities. He'll get comfortable once he can use his advantage of his length and quickness, especially if he's playing the 2 guard, has an advantage there. I've got Malcolm Brogdon back on the list for the Milwaukee Bucks. Both sides of the ball, he's been good. He can handle the offense. He can create his own shot, get to the basket. He's not much of a pull-up shooter yet, but he can still knock down outside shots, and that's what Milwaukee needs until
Pete, eventually you think, not this year obviously, but maybe at some point next year, you see him taking Dellavedova's spot in that starting lineup? Because he can do a little more offensively, I think.
He can. I just don't know that because what they signed Dellavedova for, I think it'd probably be 2 years before they give it over to Brogdon. But he's very well liked by Jason Kidd, so he has an advantage there. We know Kidd likes to play Monopoly with his lineups and things like that. So you never know. Looking at I'm at number 2, Saric. He's back up on the list. He dropped a little bit the last few weeks, but he's starting to get a little bit more production, or getting more production out of him. He doesn't finish well inside the arc, but he's been effective, getting to the line, and he can shoot from three. So that's kind of held his numbers steady there. And last but not least, of course, the process is going to be number one. Nobody's taking him out of the number one spot. He kills, pretty much anybody he goes against. He still struggles with a little bit of rust and just trying to refine his game. But, barring any kind of serious injury, he's going to get it because there's no big man like him that has a fluidity to his game.
Here's how bad this rookie class is. When come the beginning of February, Ben Simmons will probably be on every last one of our lists. After 1 week.
I mean, he could be.
And he won't even qualify for Rookie of the Year either.
And he'll still be on our list.
He's going to take over the point guard role. They'll shift Bayless over to the off guard. I don't know really how that lineup will shake out otherwise because we don't know what's going to happen with Okafor or Noel until we get past the December 15th deadline.
So does that mean Rodriguez is out of the lineup then, and Simmons is the point? He'll be listed as the point guard.
He'll be listed as the point guard, but I just don't like that he'll not be, he's basically going to have to guard point guards from what Brett Brown said, and I don't know that that's the best philosophy there.
Off an injury like that. And then,
he's not going to have as much quickness right away.
I wonder if they'll go have, depending on the matchup, maybe you'll see Henderson guard some of the point guards.
Yeah,
because you don't want Ben Simmons chasing around Russell Westbrook or Curry or Paul or some of those guys.
Now, let me put this out there. I know it was kind of mentioned earlier when he got hurt, but no one really went on it. Mm-hmm. Do you think it would be smart if they just sat him for the rest of the season, or do you really want to see him out there? Or do you think he should be out there?
If he's healthy, I think he should go.
Absolutely.
And I'm a big Sixers fan. I want to see what we're getting as a product, but I also want health first. But I think because he doesn't have the size of normal big men that have had that previous injury, like Brook Lopez and Embiid and different ones, I think that he'll be able to come back different because he doesn't carry as much weight and he doesn't have as much height as them. So that makes a big difference.
Yeah, if he's healthy, let him play.
Yeah, it'll be, basically him and Embiid will be, a tough matchup for a lot of teams. Simmons is not going to shoot it well, so let's not get crazy and say he's going to put up, 27 points.
No.
Right away or anything like that, but he'll be able to get the flow of the offense going, make a lot of plays that others can't, especially at his size.
I think it's realistic. Expect 12 points, 5-6 assists, 6-7 rebounds,
and that's still better than most rookies or pretty much all rookies.
Exactly.
He would be number 2. He would be number 2 on our list.
Exactly, and you can kind of mold him in that Lamar Odom type player, like when Odom played for the Clippers, coming out. In I believe it was 99.
Yeah.
He kind of played that point forward role at 6'10", things like that. So, and Odom couldn't shoot that great either. So,
and who's really gonna benefit too with Simmons there? Stauskas. He's gonna get even better looks, I think, because Simmons just his vision.
Yeah,
creating looks.
And that's the thing. Like Sergio Rodriguez has insane vision. He's just a little bit. He's not as tight with his handle and things like that, but. I'd love to actually see Bayless just end up staying at the 2, get most of his minutes at the 2 as a spot-up shooter. You have Stauskas as a shooter off the bench. And you figure it out between Covington and Henderson really at the 3. If you had to slide Henderson over off the bench at the 3, you could because really the only player you have there right now is Hollis Thompson. So. And before we get into our MVP rankings, I kind of forgot at the beginning of the show, and I don't want to let it slip throughout the show. But we got news on Donatas Motiejunas. He is back as a Houston Rocket. So, unfortunately, the Nets couldn't get him. I was kind of pushing for the Nets to be able to get him. He's going to play both the stretch 4 role, which I guess that shifts Decker back to the 3. And then he's also going to play the backup 5 role in small ball lineups. But that means that Bobby Brown ended up getting released. He had a little bit of a comeback. He hasn't played in the NBA in a few years, but he'll probably go to the D-League or China, one or the other, and light it up there. So hopefully good luck to him. And hopefully Demo, depending as far as passing his physical, I think he'll provide some things that they haven't had as a, power forward, going, because Decker and Mighty Eunice do two different things. So I think Mighty Eunice will be able to help there. But going into our MVP rankings, Lance, I'm going to go to you. Same format, just counting down from 5 to 1.
All right, well, CP3 was higher, but, I mean, honestly, their last 5 games, I mean, they've definitely lost a lot of steam, so I put him at 5. Then Westbrook, I got him at 4. Don't kill me, Matt. Don't kill me.
No, I'm not. No. I'm not going to kill you. They are 13-8. They're 13-8. So I can't kill you for that. They're on pace to win 50 games.
And I know numbers aren't everything, and I'm not one of the people that say he's on a horrible team. But I mean, 5 straight triple doubles. I mean, he's definitely going to be in my top 5 off that alone. And team has a winning record, so it doesn't go on faint years. Then I got James Harden. Last year, honestly, he was my pick for MVP. Didn't go that way. But not last year. I'm sorry, the year before that when he finished second in the rankings. But this year, he's definitely right now in the 3rd spot. Then I got LeBron. He slipped because losing 3 in a row. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to let you slip down. And then finally, I got Kawhi Leonard, number 1.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
Yep.
Nice. Yep. That's not. Hey, it's all in. And what you think? So, what you got, Matt? What's your list?
I've got, and like I said, like I do every week, you have to be top 4 in your conference. Usually at the end of the year, it's did your team win 50 games? But top 4 in your conference, and that's why Westbrook's not on my list. They're 5th in the West right now, so It's not me hating. It is not me hating. It's just the criteria that I'm using. I've got Kawhi Leonard 5. 4, I kept them on there. They've slipped, but they're still top 4. I got Jimmy Butler 4 still. At 3, I have James Harden. LeBron James has fallen to number 2. The 3 losses in a row. Kind of had some stinkers.
Yep.
And 1, I got Kevin Durant. He's not going to win it, like I said last week, but Kevin Durant has just been sensational this year.
That's a great list. If I can just add, just to let you know the disclaimer, right now I'm going by pretty much the last 5 games. So, and also, it's hard for me to put KD or Steph in the MVP ranking because that team.
That's exactly why. Yeah, that's exactly why he's not going to win it. Because just like LeBron and Wade got punished that first year they were together in Miami. Next year, Kevin Durant can win MVP. The media will let him.
You'll see my players ranking, and it'll be different than my MVP ranking.
Yeah.
Because there will be players that are in that top 5 that aren't in the MVP ranking. Just off that alone.
Yep.
All right, so mine are I've got Kawhi Leonard, number 5. I've got Westbrook at 4. I've got Harden at 3, LeBron at 2, and Kevin Durant takes my number 1 spot.
Nice.
I had to drop CP3 to 6.
Pete and I did not go over this together either.
No, we did not. I've been quite busy the last few days, so
yes,
not a lot of communication going on. But no, I think with if you look at it, even though you can kind of slight Kevin Durant, obviously playing for Golden State, I mean, he's shooting a career high 56% from the field, 43% from 3. I mean, he's just killing it. 27 points, almost 8.5, assists, and 5 rebounds basically. He's killing it. So
and his rim protection has been fantastic for them. He's the rim protector they've needed.
Yeah, and the thing about it, like, I hated to push LeBron to that number 2, but I feel like when you lose games, like especially to the Milwaukee Bucks, and it's early because teams, every team loses games that they should probably win. No team's perfect, but then you lose to the Clippers and the Bulls. It's kind of like they were in the honeymoon stage, and now it's a little bit like
they're ready for the playoffs to start.
Yeah, it's they got to do something. They're still sitting atop the Eastern Conference, so nothing to panic about.
No.
LeBron could go on a tear this week. I know they play Toronto, so I'm looking forward to seeing how that game goes. Might be a quality test for Toronto and maybe a wake-up call game for the Cavs as well. So.
I think LeBron is at that stage of the year right now where he's going to coast a little bit.
Yeah, and that's what we worried about when we talked about our MVP rankings. I threw LeBron out there as my MVP, in our little series, season preview show. But Matt, you threw it out there that you were a little bit worried that he was going to take some games off and stuff like that.
And just so everybody knows, I don't hate. If you go to our season preview, my pick was Westbrook.
Yeah,
I'm not a hater.
Yeah.
I am not a hater.
And when we did the Westbrook debate last week, we weren't trying to dump on Westbrook and say he's not a good player. It was just we have to play devil's advocate for the latest headline. So anybody that's listening to this and say, well, last week you didn't even have Westbrook, also they didn't win.
At the time, but his team was 10-8 at the time.
Yeah, they weren't winning, so that makes it huge.
And if you're going to make that argument, you want Westbrook, well, Anthony Davis. If we're going to make that argument, he should be MVP then. So
exactly. All right, we're going to roll into our top 10 teams power rankings. Counting down, let's do 10 to 6. Let everybody go, and then we'll each do our 5 to 1. So Lance, you go first.
Okay.
10 to 6.
All right. So at number 10, they barely got in. They've been looking a lot better recently. I got the Bucks.
Okay.
Then I got the Jazz. I mean, honestly, they should be higher, but man, the injuries have really hurt them. So they really should be higher. But I got the Jazz at 9. Then I have the Celtics, the Thunder, and what is that? Is that
that's 7?
7. And then I got the Rockets.
Nice.
Okay. What you got, Matt?
Yeah, our list is almost pretty close. Let me put this disclaimer out there. I almost put them in, but they would be number 11 on my list. Would be the New York Knicks. My Knicks, the number 2.
The tier 2 seed in the East.
Yeah, that's right. They're coming. They're looking better. But I just wanted to throw that out. 10, I got the Jazz. I've got Utah 10. The injuries, they are undefeated this year with Hill and Hayward in the lineup at the same time. So they're going to be great once they get healthy, if they do. I mean, and they'll make the playoffs because of, I think a lot of it is just Gobert. The guy's been fantastic for them. I still got the Bulls at number 9. They're still top 4 in the East. They beat the Cavs. That was a big win. They've struggled against the Cavs the last year. So I got the Bulls 9. Celtics at 8. They're starting to look a lot better with everybody healthy. I've got the Thunder at 7, 13 and 8. They're looking pretty good now. Although Steven Adams has the ankle, so we'll see how that goes. Another injury on my fantasy team. At 6, I've got the Rockets. Big win over the Warriors on Thursday night.
Yep.
Nice. Okay.
And then let me add on the Rockets. Then the very next day on the back-to-back, you got to go to Denver, which we know is a very tough place to play. So I got to give that to the Rockets. That was a tough back-to-back to complete, especially the first one. You go double overtime.
Nice. Not bad. Okay. I had to kind of do mine just based off of, just what I've been able to watch. So I'm going to go ahead and apologize to the Celtics fans because I don't have them in there. I haven't seen enough of them to know, any difference, the past 4 days. So I don't know if anything's changed. They were teetering right there on that 10th spot for me. They are at number 11. But in my top 10, I had to sneak the Grizzlies in at 10. I know Mike Conley's out, but they've won, their last 2. They're probably going to lose a lot of games without arguably their best player.
Mm-hmm.
They could be, 18th by the time next week comes. But, I wanted to slide them in there. At number 9, I've got the Utah Jazz. They have won 5 of their last 6. They're now in the top 10 in both offense and defense. But they've got a big 5-game homestand coming, especially against the Warriors. I think it's Thursday they play them. So it's going to be a little bit difficult there. I've got the Chicago Bulls. They're at number 8. I think the Bulls obviously, basically tied with Boston, same record, but they were able to beat the Cavs. So
yeah, and then they backdoored it in that trap game against Lance's Mavericks. They got pounded.
Yeah, they kind of sneak in there, and I had to put them on the list because they've basically got a 5-game winning streak. Next team, I've got the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yes.
Basically, it's kind of a mixed bag with them because the Thunder can beat any team on any night, but then they could also lose to a team on any night. So
they can lose to the Nets.
Yeah, you kind of have to.
That's true.
Yeah, you kind of have to weigh it there on what you think. I've actually got the Toronto Raptors at number 6. It was a toss-up for me, but I think with DeRozan kind of cooling down, I want to see what their consistency is going to be like. Like I said previous, they've got a huge test this week against the Cavaliers. Mm-hmm. If they can squeak out that win against the Cavaliers, they go up in the rank.
Let's give a little disclaimer here, Pete. You and I have not really always been that high on the Raptors.
Yeah, I mean, I've always thought it was the DeRozan-Lowry show, and until they can get more consistency at that power forward spot, and Valanciunas can take another leap forward, and they can get something out of the bench, I'm not sold on them. Solid team, but I'm just not sold on them come playoff time.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're going to do our 5-1. What you got, Lance?
All right, guys. The Clippers, honestly, they probably shouldn't be this low, but I'm telling you, recently they've just really been disappointing after the great start. Next, it's funny, ironic that y'all mentioned the Raptors. I'm usually not this high on them, but they are my number 4. 3, the Spurs. Really, they could switch from 2 or 3, but I'm still going to have the Cavs over them. I still think the Cavs are the overall better team. They're just in a slump the last, 5 or 6 games. Then I have the Cavs, and then, of course, I have the Warriors. I mean, I really think they're just going to finish with the best record. That I just don't see them not finishing with the best record. So that's my 10 overall.
Okay. What you got, Matt?
5, I've got the Raptors. 6 in a row, I think now. They're 14-6. They're kind of separating themselves from the rest of the pack for that 2 spot. Hopefully my Knicks can catch them. We'll see. So they can make me look good in the predictions. I've got the Clippers at 4. They're not looking good right now. The fraudulent Clippers are back. The decision making, same old Clippers. We shouldn't have been. It was fool's gold early on. So maybe they can get it back. We'll see. I've got the Cavs 3. You lose 3 this week. Got to drop you. I got the Spurs 2. And then I got Golden State number 1. I'm actually kind of surprised I've got them number 1 at this point in the season because it was me who thought they'd only be like 20. I thought they'd be 12-8 through 20 games, and they're 17-3. And, I mean, hell, they may win 70 again this year. Like, the team is fantastic. I mean, you lose a tough one in double overtime to the Rockets, but Curry fouls out. Draymond Green fouls out. Klay Thompson doesn't shoot for anything that game. I mean, everything went wrong for them, and they still go double overtime.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got the Rockets at 5. Basically they go into Oracle in double overtime. They end up squeaking out the win. Then they beat a Denver team that looked terrible. I was able to actually watch that entire game, and Denver just awful. And I was high on Denver, but not after seeing that. I mean, they just looked sloppy all the way around. Patrick Beverley is back, so I think that helps make a huge difference. And something that was interesting is on the broadcast they said that Beverley is actually the shooting guard with Harden as the point guard officially. So I'll have to change up whenever at the end of the month we do our individual position rankings. Now I definitely have James Harden as the point guard, instead of the shooting guard on the list. So. Next, I've got the Clippers. The bench outside of Jamal Crawford has given them nothing, and that's their biggest problem. Even looking at a guy like Austin Rivers, who had a productive beginning part of the season, has kind of faltered. Maurice Spates has looked average. They're not getting much out of Pierce or Brandon Bass. If they sprinkle in Wesley Johnson, he doesn't do much. So. It's just hard right now. The Clippers, like you said, Matt, are back to their fraudulent ways. So as soon as we start trusting them, they let us down.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at number 3, I've got the Spurs here. And the only reason that I've got the Spurs, their record looks great, but out of the 11 to 12 wins that they've gotten, only 4 of those wins were against teams that were over 500 record. So, and they slipped to 12th in defense. So, I had to put them behind the Cavs just because I think that, everybody kind of goes through a little dry spell. I don't think it's, going to last for the Cavaliers. They can afford to take a game or 2 off and, come back strong. They're number 2. And then the Warriors, number 1. I mean, basically, there's nobody you can put here unless the Warriors just kind of fall flat on their face in the next few games. But
they've got a decent schedule this week. I mean, you play a Pacer team who's healthy now. Just beat the Clippers. You got to go to Utah. Then you play the Clippers on Wednesday in Los Angeles. So it'll be an interesting week to see how they do.
Yeah, and we're actually on Wednesday's show. We'll do our kind of overview of kind of what each individual teams are looking like, basically by conference, and then Friday we'll continue it to finish it up, and then we'll give you a different look next Wednesday and Friday. But at that point, we'll have a couple games under our belts and can kind of see how that week's going for the Warriors and be able to talk about it on air. But I want to get into a new category that we have not done yet this season, something new for you. We're doing our 10 best players overall based on this season. So we're looking at this season. We're not looking at Lifetime Achievement Awards or anything like that. So, Lance, I'm going to throw it to you and let you kick it off, counting down. Give me your 10 to 6, and then we'll break and then do the same kind of format we did for the power rankings.
Okay, so the majority of this list, the players are on a playoff team. Now, I'm aware there's players that are on horrible teams that put up big numbers. There's only one exception to my rule on this list. So just to let y'all know, so when y'all see these names, you'll know. So at number 10, I got DeRozan. I know he doesn't really put up any three-point numbers, but, I mean, considering he's just really getting into the lane and shoots a lot of mid-range shots, his stats are actually pretty nice, and he's number 2 in his conference, so I'm going to award him on that. Number 9, I have Anthony Davis. This is the exception to my rule. I mean, the guy's averaging over 30 points a game, career highs and rebounds, and he's on a really fire garbage can team. So, he's really sticking out like a sore thumb. Then number 8, I have Butler. I think he will be a great player one day. He's still getting there. He's definitely an all-star player, and especially has to put up with Rondo. He's still putting up pretty good numbers and getting along with his teammates for the most part. Then number 7, I have Kyrie Irving. Career highs in points, and that's saying something when you're on the same team with Kevin Love and LeBron James. And then at 6, I have Russell Westbrook. And that's, should not have to say much about that.
Absolutely. All right, Matt, what you got from 10 to 6?
Right, at 10, and my list is actually a little different than you. I got Giannis Antetokounmpo at 10.
Ooh,
nice.
Been fantastic this year. Does everything for them. He's got Parker, but Giannis has been great. I got Chris Paul at 9.
Wow.
I've got Jimmy Butler at 8. I've got Kawhi Leonard at 7. I've got James Harden at 6, which is a huge jump from our list a couple months ago when I had James Harden at like 20.
Yeah.
Wherever I had him, he's made a huge jump on my list.
Matt, this is crazy because we did not talk about this beforehand, but
look at y'all.
I actually had to go with 10A and 10B because I had a toss up there for number 10. 10B, I've got DeMarcus Cousins. Yes, he's on a bad team, but just he's able to put up monster numbers.
That's what I had to leave off.
10A, I've got Giannis. He's averaging 22, 8, and 6, 2 steals, 2 blocks. I mean, he's 21 years old. Mm-hmm. He's like 7 foot. He's running the point guard. I mean, come on.
He's played every position for them, so that's why when we do our position rankings, I always fit him in where I can. I'm just going to put him in any position, and it works.
Yeah. Chris Paul's number 9. The only thing that really hurts Chris Paul is that, Blake Griffin has to get the ball so much. But basically 17, 5, and 8 with 3 steals a game, or almost 3 steals a game. Has been very solid this season. Jimmy Butler, number 8. We all heard the news of Rondo getting suspended for a game. Jimmy's been, the leader of this team. Dwayne Wade's right there with him. We all thought that, there wasn't enough ball to go around, that he'd lose shots. I mean, basically he's been killing it. 26, 6, and 4.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, can't say enough about what he's done to help the Bulls this season. Kawhi Leonard's number 7.
Damn,
every year the Spurs kill it. He's entering the prime of his career. Basically averaging 25, 6, and 3. Obviously killing it on defense. Almost 2 steals a game. He's the best lockdown defender in the league, in my opinion. Got him there. A little different from you, Matt. I've got 6. I've got Anthony Davis. Basically, he's having one of the best seasons, that I've seen in a long time for his team to be as crappy as they were to start with. They're finally coming around. He's averaging 31, 11 and nearly 3 blocks a game.
Mm-hmm.
Basically had a 50-point game already. I believe it was the season opener. His team's going to stink. It probably will stink for the rest of the year. But at the same time, you can't ignore what Anthony Davis is doing. But I want to go back to you, Lance. Count down your 5 to 1 for me.
All right. So at number 5, I got James Harden. This system is pretty much tailor-made for him. I mean, the way he's been exploding with the assists and also coming up big against the Warriors game, that was huge for me to put him in my top 5. I'll have Curry at number 4. I mean, him still not being technically the number 1 guy on that team, he's still pretty efficient. Number 3, I have Kawhi. Number 1 option now, and then also he's still pretty good defensively, although I think the defensive rating is a little down, but I think that's mostly because him and Gasol share this floor at the same time a lot. So I don't want to put that against him because we've seen him actually play in the playoffs with his defense. Durant, number 2. Notice he wasn't in my top 5 MVP like I said earlier, but I mean, this dude is putting up some pretty good defensive numbers. He's being a rim protector, and of course he's still an offensive threat. And of course, I know LeBron's taking a break, but he's still number 1 in the league. So that's and just realize there is a name missing off of that list that was on my MVP list. And,
interesting.
Yes, CP3 did not make the list.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. The Clippers. It's funny because obviously without him on the Clippers, they wouldn't be where they're at. But I just don't. I just don't see it, man. Like I was looking up his stats the last 5 games, and he had 2 double-digit assist games, and they still lost. And I don't know. Against the Pacers, he stunk it up. The Nets game, stunk it up. I can't put him in my top 10 for now. I mean, this could obviously change, but for right now, even it's sad that a guy that's on a really crappy team made it and he didn't make it. But I still really like him, but I just couldn't put him in my top 10 with some of the guys that are in it. And I left off the Greek Freak, so just imagine that.
That's okay, but everything can change. As we do this once a month, it can certainly change. Just like at the end of each month as we do our top 5 at each position breakdown, that could be fluid as well because you've got guys that go on tears that come out of nowhere and guys that, might not shoot well. Obviously, a guy like maybe DeMar DeRozan, he's not going to hold his start of the year numbers throughout the season.
Yeah,
so, for many people's lists, throughout the country, I'm sure they had DeRozan right up there as the shooting guard ratings. I'm sure he's tailored off a little bit there. But
yep.
Matt, going to you. Give me your 5 to 1.
Okay, 5, I have Anthony Davis. He's been fantastic. He just plays on a really crappy team. They suck. That's what it is. 4, and guys, like I said, I'm not a hater. I have Russell Westbrook at 4. I think he's great. He's a great player. 3, I have Kevin Durant. 2, I have Stephen Curry. And 1, LeBron James. And Curry was not on my MVP list either, but I still have him on my top 5, so just like Lance.
Okay.
It's funny, my number 2 guy and Lance's number 2 guy are not on our MVP list.
Yeah.
That's all right.
It is what it is. I had Curry going in number 2 this year as the second best player. He hasn't done anything to me that's made him fall off that.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, it's all subjective, subjective as far as, where you put guys. It's your own opinion. That's why you got to use your own eye test.
Yeah, that's right. Byron put Kyle Lowry preseason number 11. It's his list. This is my list.
I still can't justify that one, but it's okay. It's okay.
Man, I don't think Kyle Lowry's in the top 20 now.
Yeah, it's all right though. It's okay. Everybody's got their own. I've got. Let's see. We're doing 5-1. Looking at number 5, I've got Russell Westbrook there. Yes, they've started winning some games, but I'm still on my kick of what does he do to make his teammates that much better. Obviously he's killing it with the triple doubles. He'll rise up on the list, I'm sure. I'm not hating on him at all. I just want to see him do a little bit more for his teammates, make a little bit smarter decisions as a point guard before I can kind of bump him up that list. 4, I've got James Harden. This was kind of a toss-up, 4 and 3, between Harden and Steph Curry. I think Harden is perfect, obviously, for Mike D'Antoni's system. He's basically 4th in the league in scoring, 1st in assists, 5th in usage percentage, 2nd in three-point field goals. He's been killing it. Then you look at Curry, obviously, because he plays on a stacked team, he's not going to win the MVP because of, number one, voter fatigue, as Matt always brings up. And then the other thing, obviously, is with Durant and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green, you're probably not going to get that award. But his numbers are a little bit down, but he's still putting up 50% from 3.
Yep.
So they're in most people's eyes, this would be a killer season for almost any NBA player.
Here's the thing: his numbers are better this year than they were the year he won his first MVP.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And what he does, you're never going to see a boring game out of Steph Curry.
It's must-see TV when he's playing. And here's the thing with Curry, too. Like, everybody uses that he's on a stacked team argument against him. It's that much harder on a stacked team, though, especially as stacked as they are, to put up the numbers he's putting because his shots have gone down this year. You have to be so much more efficient. Kevin Durant's another example. It might even be harder. Like Klay Thompson, you're seeing his numbers – his percentages are down because he hasn't been able really to adjust like I think we thought he would. I think he eventually will, but it's taking a lot longer.
Exactly.
Klay Thompson's, 35, 36% from 3? And that just, like I've said, it just tells me he's just – because he knows he's not getting the same – well, his attempts are close to the same, but in his mind he's probably thinking, well, I'm not going to get to say it, so I got to make this shot because I'm not going to get it, every time when I usually do.
Exactly. Number 2, I've got Steph Curry's teammate, Kevin Durant, in that slot. What I talked about earlier, 62% from the field, 44% from deep.
Man.
Basically any other year, he's a lock for MVP.
Yep.
But because, obviously, the team he plays on, it's kind of hard. But he does lead the league in win shares, which is, a big analytic stat that many people kind of go off of. And number 1, the King.
Yep.
His 14th year in the NBA, and he's putting up 23, 8, and 10. And some nights he's not even playing at his full potential. So, how does this happen? You got to look at just he's the engine that pushes that Cavs team. Obviously the things that Kyrie can do, and then Kevin Love's resurgence this season has been huge. But LeBron's still that guy that makes the Cavaliers, the most dangerous team in the Eastern Conference, and right there in a toe-to-toe battle for most dangerous team in the NBA with the Warriors, because the Cavaliers can beat the Warriors on any given night. It's just a toss-up on who's going to play better. So, but that's going to wrap us up basically for this episode. And as I said before, Wednesday night we're gonna get back to our kind of around the association. We'll start with the Eastern Conference. We'll cover just a highlight of the 15 teams. We'll try to get through, about an hour and 10-minute show, just kind of highlighting what's going on, some news and notes, some analytic stats to throw at you about each team as well. So We'll do that Wednesday, and then Friday we'll do the Western Conference. Same thing. At that point, we'll know kind of, where teams are as far as the Cavs would have played the Raptors, and the Warriors would have gotten tested a few games this week. So it'll be it's definitely an interesting week in the NBA for sure, as far as the schedule goes. But Lance, since you haven't been on in a bit, do me a favor and let everybody know where they can find you.
Oh, guys, well, my Twitter handle is Lance972 or Lance_972. I talk anything from social stuff, basketball, TV shows. I'll be having a little writing gig soon. Just it's in the work, just not official yet. So be on the lookout for that. Awesome.
Yeah, I know you did a lot of great work in the past, writing on the NBA and the D League and stuff like that. So everybody needs to go follow Lance on Twitter. And look out for that content soon. In the meantime, please continue to go to YouTube. You can check all of our videos out all the way, from the beginning to now. Subscribe to the page. Underneath our video tonight, leave us a comment or two what you thought of the show. Give us your rankings of what you think, because coming up in about 2 weeks, we're going to do a kind of a mailbag show.
That's going to be great.
Post some, basically questions that, people have had on Twitter. Anything you want to ask us, we'll send a hashtag out about a week before. And, just you can ask us anything. You can let us know anything, any topics you want us to cover, anything like that. Basically it's our way of giving back to everybody that supported us, and make you as part of the show as well. Also, go to Stitcher. If you like to stream your content rather than download it, take up storage on your phone, you can go to Stitcher. Find us there, Unquestionably Raw. Once the episode's up on iTunes, it is automatically linked to Stitcher as well. I will be getting last episode from Friday night as well as this episode up on iTunes at the same time. Obviously, with the birth of my son Friday, I was not able to have a laptop handy to be able to get that episode up as quickly as I like. But great episode nonetheless with Keith Smith and Matt holding it down.
Pete, real quick, this is relevant to your baby situation. You remember what happened with the Al Horford thing and the guy said he should have missed the game?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you should have missed that, and you should have put that podcast up, Pete. What's wrong with you?
Oh, man.
That's right, Pete.
What's wrong with you, man? Get your priorities right, man.
Nah, it's all good. But you can continue to go to iTunes. Please subscribe to the podcast. It auto-downloads if you do that. And then leave us not only a 5-star review, but please leave something written that we can, read on the show. We want to start doing that again once we get some more reviews in, because we've gotten a lot of 5-star reviews. There's not much that's actually written about the show. We'd love to hear your feedback and go from there. But that, like I said, will wrap us up for this episode. Hope everybody enjoyed it. And we will see you Wednesday evening, and we'll get the link out for everybody by tomorrow night and start, promoting it for Wednesday's show. So thanks again for listening to the Unquestionably Raw podcast.